recording is running. Thanks very much. Welcome back. Welcome to the demo session of our inaugural charity hackathon. We are super excited what you've come up with, what you've turned the copious amounts of pizza and snacks into over the last 24 hours. If the flurry of messages I've seen on the Teams chats is anything to go by, I think we stand to be quite impressed. Before we start, we've got a really packed agenda. We've got obviously 7 teams. Each team has 10 minutes to present their solution. I had sent an email to our judges with a link to a Miro board. Have you all received that email? Have you all got that link? Perfect. So you don't have to use it now. You obviously can, but we're going to be using it in the deliberation session afterwards. But just as a reminder, we are going to be judging the contributions based on 4 categories. So we're going to be looking at technical feasibility. So can your solution be built? We're going to be looking at usefulness and desirability. So can users use it? Do they want to? The viability of it. So is it worth the effort? And then we're going to be looking at a little bit of an X factor innovation. So how interesting, how new is the solution? And then I don't know if I said that while everybody was online already, but I had to very last minute switch around the first 2 teams. So I am hoping very much that team Jason is ready to go first. I'm very sorry, guys, for dropping you in it. Okay. Well, without further ado then, I'll hand over to you and you can kick us off.
Yeah. Well, cheers, Malena. Can everyone see our screen online?
Yes, we can.
Nice. All right, we're Team Jason, and this is our FTFLIC personalization quiz. First up, we summarise the main problems that FTFLIC are currently experiencing. With regards to content, this generally lacks interactivity, and the FTFLIC team also mentioned that they struggle to get valuable feedback on their content in order to measure its effectiveness. In addition to this, they lack the resources to offer one-to-one help via drop-in sessions, like very regularly, which will only increase as the product scales. So this could be automated, for example. And lastly, there's a lack of personalization and a difficulty in targeting younger children.
Yeah. So our idea we came up with, we wanted to have an online platform to display the sort of wide variety of resources that FTFLIC have. And they have a lot of examples for like PSHE lesson plans, podcasts available, YouTube videos, webinars, etc. We wanted to provide a unified platform where all of this can be accessed. So an online website we thought was an easy win. Most people at home will have access to some sort of smart device, whether it be phone, laptop, or anything, so it's easily accessible. Jack mentioned that evaluation is a current struggle with the content, so it would be good to know if the content is correct. Like, for example, we've decided to integrate a sort of a quiz assessment, and we can track the answers that people are giving. And if we find that maybe everyone is getting a question wrong, for example, we could then decide that maybe we could update the content to make it a bit more accurate. We also wanted to be able to tailor the content for users. So there's going to be a wide range, like people may just be starting their first job or they're in school, and the content they might desire is completely different to, say, someone who is approaching retirement. And also, we wanted to be able to leverage AI, because that's a big thing which is going around at the moment, and ChatGPT has huge potential. So we decided to sit GPT on top of FTFLIC's knowledge base, so that the content is relevant. We're not sort of relying on correct answers from all around the web. We know that it's being curated, it's accurate, and people can ask their own questions, and we can be sort of fairly sure that they're going to get accurate answers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go through the demo for our app. Okay, just get some screen. So to begin with, the first thing you'd see when you open the app would be a quick survey for us to figure out what demographic you are, so like what your age is, gender, and salary. And this is about tailoring content. So once we know this information, we can provide content that is more specific to you. And then in the dashboard, you've got two main options to either learn about something, which is going to have, this is just a sample of like content that we could show, and then a quiz at the end to like see if you've learned from that quiz, from the content. So for example, suppose you have $100 in savings account earning 2% interest a year. After 5 years, how much would you have? Any guesses? I guess nobody knows. So don't know. Let's see if we can do better with this one. Imagine that the interest rate on your savings account is 1% a year and inflation is 2% a year. After 1 year, would the money in the account buy more than it does today, exactly the same, or less than today? Does anyone know? Hopefully someone does.
I'd say less personally.
Well, real terms, it's less, isn't it? To
Yeah.
the value of that money.
Yep. So
Although actually you'll have 101, won't you? But
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't buy you as many Big Macs.
yeah. So if we do that quiz again, this time let's get the answers right. And now you know everything. And you get a badge because you were able to complete the quiz. This is just part of like gamification and making it more fun for people to like learn. And the other option is asking a question that you're curious about. So this takes you to a prompt, to a form where you can ask a question, and this uses GPT under the hood. And we've connected it to the database of FAQ questions that we had from FTFLIC. So for example,
Does anyone have a question they want to ask?
How do I reduce my debt?
find out.
Ladies first. Everyone would love to know.
Buy Bitcoin.
Reducing your debt is a great goal to have. Good. To begin with, make sure you regularly pay a decent amount. Yeah, I think that's a good answer.
Just paste it in the chat. Just to people know.
Yeah.
Simple, eh?
Right. Yeah, I think that is everything for the demo. Let's go back to Matt.
Cool. Yeah. I want to demo sort of like a new technology called 3JS. So if you could bring up the video. So yeah, in recent advancements in technology, it's enabled to have libraries such as 3JS. So this essentially runs a WebGL engine in your browser. So the main benefit we get for this is for it to be like accessible on any device. So the client or whoever, they wouldn't actually need to download any sort of external software for them to run. So this runs on any device on any website. So this is sort of like a bid to keep sort of education fun and sort of keep the customers engaged. You know, we could put the customer in sort of like a real world environment, such as maybe like a shopping mall, such as this. And then you can have sort of like, you know, real world interactions where they can sort of like maybe walk into, you know, a HSBC bank and talk about maybe mortgages or debt or interest rates or whatever it may be. And then, you know, once they learn this content, then they can maybe take a small quiz. Again, all around the sort of gamification stuff. They can get badges, they can get, you know, level was whether they kind of want to monitor that. And then this content can be, completely dynamic depending on the person's age, depending on their experience, depending even on like the level that they're on, or any other parameter basically. So this is kind of, just in a bid to kind of keep the education fun, and to kind of keep them engaged. It's sort of, that covers most of it. So,
We have a question.
future.
Yeah, do you want to do questions as we go, or you want to wait to the end?
We do have a slide for them at the end, but I'm more than happy to take it now if you want.
I was just thinking on that last one, what sort of age group? What was you thinking of when you were visualizing it in that way?
Yeah, I think games like that would probably suit a younger audience. Again, the game can be completely customized depending on the parameter. So depending on the age, depending on the financial situation of the person, they can be dropped in completely different worlds, depending on however many parameters. But initially, I would think the younger audience would probably cater to that.
Yeah, I think when we were sort of initially discussing our plans, we spoke to some of the FTFLIC team. They're saying that habits are formed from as early as 7 in terms of financial behaviours. So I think that was maybe our sort of solution does primarily target the younger generation, but it still can be used by everyone.
Yeah. In addition, the FTFLIC team said they have a hard time engaging people who typically don't do well in school in like exam and learning environments. And they have good content already for that. So it's just another way basically to reach more of the marginalised community. Cool. Moving on to the future. Yeah, obviously we've only had 2 days. So the animations and interactivity from our quiz demo obviously leave a lot to be desired. The FreeJS stuff and narrative need to be thought out and fleshed. But yeah, they're entirely customizable. Better metrics. This was a big thing basically asked for the FTFLIC team. They have a good way of evaluating stuff, and in the future you can get front-end statistics. Currently we're capturing the quiz stats, but you can get dropout rate, time spent per page. You can get a feel kind of for what content isn't engaging people, just improve it over time. We've only trained the GPT model on FAQs and glossary. In the future we train it more on their whole curriculum. It's just hard to process in 2 days in the format it's in. You can make tweaks to the tone of voice in GPT, fine tune it over time. This would be something that just leads to better personalization. And I think that's basically it. Any questions?
Thank you, Team Jason. Are there no questions?
I'll go for another one. You half answered it at the end there, I think, in terms of trained it. So I was like, what would draw people to sort of engage with this portal or this ChatGPT implementation versus like a native one, right? Because you could probably go and ask how do I reduce my debt to the the web one, and it will give you a very similar answer. And so I guess it's going to be trained on the content, right? That's the unique USP. So then I was thinking, well, how are you gonna get them to come and find it? Did you think about that?
Yeah. So one of the things the FTFLIC team mentioned is they have that some characters in development at the minute, and these characters have their own sort of tone of voice and that joke away. So for people on the platform, it'd be good basically to sort of tie in the tone of GPT as if they were the characters. Is one of the thoughts, and obviously you can use that in conjunction with the animations. It doesn't have to be a chatbot. That's just something we use to interface with it. But yeah, something a bit more interactive as if it was actually coming from the character itself, per se. But
yeah, I like that. I was as you were thinking about it, it sort of triggers ideas, and I was thinking of a bit more of it's like a financial assistant in your pocket. Yeah. So I like that it's got persona. And you can give it more real world context to what's going on in your life at any given point in time based on where you are, what you're doing. And the other idea I had is how do you get sort of the best personalization out of it? So what parts of information could you look to bring in, so is it an open banking API integration that gives you some more about me type stuff in your financial world? So I think that personalization part's quite key to it as well.
For sure. The way we've set it up at the minute, we explicitly asked GPT to tailor the answer to a younger audience, but obviously using some from the personalization, because at the start, or any information we have on them prior, basically just feed it in, start tailoring the content on different parameters. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. There's a hand up online.
Hi, I have my hand up. It's Amy here. Thank you so much for that demonstration. That was really exciting to see. I think it does skew for a younger audience, but not necessarily sort of cut off at school age at all. I think young people sort of under 25 would happily play something like this. Would it be possible to integrate it? I don't know how much you looked into our curriculum. Would it be possible to think about that when you navigate that world, the decision-making exercise at the end of each 6-week block of learning, where they sort of bring together all the skills? So whether that's budget for a holiday or shop for a meal, do your food shopping pre and post inflation, or whatever the sort of decision making exercise could they do, as well as sort of answer questions with that backdrop?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The environment's completely customizable to, yeah. I mean, the short answer is just yes, essentially.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We ready for team 404 not found now?
Yep.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Can you see
So
my screen?
previous team, we had some technical issues.
Yes, we can.
Sir? Okay, cool.
Perfect. Hi, we're team 404, and we're going to talk to you about how we want to tackle personalizing the learning experience.
Sorry.
Here is our agenda. First, we'll tell you about how FLIC currently does teaching and about the different ways that they do that. Next, we'll tell you about the need that we identified after talking with our stakeholders and tell you about our idea for how to fulfill that need. Finally, we'll show you a demo of our idea and talk to you about all the challenges that we foresee coming up in the future. And at the end, take your questions. So, the current state. How does FLIC currently do teaching? They teach in groups, and this means that they're going over a slideshow with students in a big group. They do one-to-one learning, where a parent or a mentor would teach someone who needs it, and they would go over a workbook. And something that they're looking to do in the future is allowing students to learn independently more and creating resources for them. And they tend to create articles and videos soon. The problem that we identified is what we'll tell you about now. We identified 3 problems that we figured out a common thread through. First, tailored learning resources are difficult to, it's difficult to tailor learning. And a lot of learners, when they're in a group setting, they might feel the ways being taught is too generic and doesn't apply to what to their specific needs. We realized that there is no safe space to ask sensitive financial issues, even in one-to-one learning, as the student might not feel comfortable talking about owing debt to people like pawnbrokers. And finally, we know that math can be a big barrier to entry. And so we realized that there are no interactive learning tools that FLIC can use to aid students. The idea that we had was to create an app which students can use and would fill this gap. Our app is called Pocket Pal, and its goal is to personalize the learning experience for users. We gather non-sensitive data such as age bracket and earning bracket. We suggest possible goals based on this information, and after they click on this goal, we suggest more fine-grained goals, which can be more personalized and more specific. The way we personalize the experience is after they've selected their goal, we show them articles that would be useful to help them achieve the goal that they selected. And finally, we provide them an interactive tool to further aid them in that direction. And now it's time to show you our demo.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the user experience for when you first open up our app called Pocket Pal. So if you're a new user, we take very light information. So like we discussed before, the previous team discussed, and one thing we discussed with FTFLIC is that we're trying to kind of cater content to different age groups. So we just have 4 age groups here. So obviously the content is going to be different for a teenager compared to somebody who's over the age of 50, for instance. So for instance, if you're 11 to 18 and you select your age group, so let's say you're in that age group and then you want a big purchase, say you want to like buy, a new pair of shoes, you want to buy a phone, something like that, something exciting. Then you can kind of go into this flow. And then, so this is just a tool that can help you kind of know how much you need to save for like a certain date, like say you want to save up money for like a family trip or something like that, no matter the age. So you just select the item that you're saving for, and then just like a simple tool just to help save. And then, it also links you to different resources at the bottom here in terms of like budgeting and saving, and to kind of how to look after your own money. So then once you save that, then it keeps track of your financial goal based on how much you're kind of putting in every month. And then it keeps track of the percentage. And then there's other options in terms of like, big purchase, like a house, building a nest egg. So that's more for like people who are a bit maybe older, thinking about retirement, or if you're younger and you want to think about that too. People who, might not have the atmosphere to talk about something sensitive like debt. So we have options for that too. And then something like an investment tool. So we're going to look at our tooling for that now.
So in this tab, you are linked with some learning resources created by FTFLIC. So basically, we curate all of this available information that they already have. They have mentioned to us that they have like a social media page where they have resources ranging from menopause resources for people about to retire, and other resources such as very catered to very young adults where they want to go on abroad for holiday and how to exchange rates in an airport versus like another places for getting better deals. So basically the problem we identified there was it was just a big area with all sorts of material which was not targeted at all. With this view, we basically curate those already available resources and present you the relevant one in terms of what you're trying to achieve in the scans. And if you click on one of them, for example, the crypto one, you can see, you get the article with the video and the text in it, so you can be more informed about your decisions. And if you go back now, we have our investment calculator there, which they can visually see without needing you can click on, without needing to do any maths. We kept everything very simple with basically sliders, which now will be demo, which we implemented it already.
Yeah, so we implemented this investment calculator for iPhone. Doing things natively has a lot of advantages. For instance, if you build something natively, you're able to really harness Apple's accessibility tools, such as, you can have like larger font sizes for people with visual impairments. And then for people with audio impairments, you're able to do like, tap, and then it can, or like other impairments, you can like, tap something and then it can give you like the audio dictation of it. So this is fully interactive, and we talked about how one of the big barriers for entry was a lot of people can be intimidated by math. So that's why we did this tool with sliders. So, this is accessible for anybody, any age as well. For instance, let's say you got £100 for Christmas one year, and then you get £20 allowance as a kid or something every month. So your monthly contribution is £20, or as you get older, it might grow a little bit. So this kind of calculates, over the years, how much money you can have with just a simple, without any interest. And then this calculator also calculates with interest if you're if you have access to different savings accounts or different investment options that can collect interest.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, this base view, we kept it super simple with only a current account with no interest. But let's say you have an account with an interest rate of 5%, then you can clearly see how your money grows in comparison to just sitting in a current account and let it erode by inflation. So we managed to get this view super simple with zero need for math, and very visually they can see it. And say you want to just not park in a savings account and want to invest in like S&P 500, you can basically slide that interest rate to basically 10%, which is the S&P average for the last 100 years. And you can really start to see how over the years these gains compound. And this tool also emphasizes how little you need to start off by, like £100 and like £20 literally every month, and you can still save a very large sum of money. So I think we managed to visualize it and convey the information well with this tool, and basically breaking the barriers of many people who think investment is like for rich people and you need like $500,000 to get into it. You don't, you just need £100. I think we conveyed that message well here.
Yeah, hopefully a tool like this and even the budget calculator, hopefully it can be like some sort of inspiration for a lot of people who, think that saving money or investing money is something that's intimidating. Yeah, and then I think we have 2 more slides.
And we quickly wanted to tell you about the challenges that we foresee with creating this solution. One of them is that we want this to be usable on all platforms, but currently we've only implemented it for iOS. The reason we did that was, as Courtney said, we wanted to make this accessible, and iOS has much better graphical interfaces, which can be read by screen readers and would make financial literacy accessible to the visually impaired. We also realized a lot of elderly people are not able to use phones and they might prefer using a desktop, and we want to create another solution for the web. We understand that this would be a bigger investment, and we wanted to also point out that we would need to build architecture which would support the customized, the personalized learning resources by filtering them and by providing the video. Likewise, we also know there'll be lots of research that needs to get done with users, and would need to see that whether we're covering their real life situations and needs. Here are some of our suggestions about what FLIC would have to do to make this work. They would need multiple articles tagged and sorted based on what they think the demographic that is interested in this would be. They would need to create the videos, which they intend to do. And they would also need to choose how accessible they want the app to be compared to how cheaply they want to make it, because there exists software that can allow them to make this multi-platform really quickly and easily. And finally, they'll need to build the content delivery system and its architecture. Here are our suggestions for the architecture, which for now I'll skip over, but if you are interested, please do reach out to us and we would love to talk more. Thank you. Any questions?
What's maybe unfair? How are you going to promote the app? How are you going to get people to want to use it?
So that's actually a good question, and it's one of the problems that we initially identified, which is when they have a group setting at the end of a session. I think this was speaking with Rachel, maybe, that said this, that once the session ends, they want to give the user something, the learners, to do something by themselves, and showing them, oh, this is the app that we have, try and use it, and them using it afterwards and downloading it from the lesson is one way we intend to do this, and just using the general distribution network that FLIC already has.
Another question, David?
Yeah, hello. So I was interested in the, I'm not sure what you call them, but you know, the sophistication that you foresee being needed around